Hi, it's Lethea from Farm View Creators. Today let's work on the Planter Porch Leaner Base that goes with the four current inserts. So I'm going to open up my wonderfully wrapped package, and there's 2 layers to the sign piece and then 3 layers to the actual planter. And I am going to go ahead and use my staining pad and Paint Couture Van Dyke Brown to do just 1 layer of stain over the top 2 pieces of the planter base and the frame for the top side. After that got good and dry, I just went ahead and marked the bottom piece because I wanted to know where I needed to paint. And I'm going to go ahead and get my Denim Sweet Pickins milk paint mixed up. I am using 1 scoop to 1 scoop. I like to use room temperature water. Stir it really well with a mini metal whisk, making sure I clean up all the sides. And while that is setting up, I'm going to go ahead and brush on 1 coat of Extra Bond wherever I am wanting crackle. Extra Bond is a paint additive that helps paint adhere, especially milk paint, adhere to stubborn surfaces. But if you put it underneath the milk paint, it will make this beautiful crackle. I'm going to use my Sweet Pickins Beeswax. It smells so good. It's great for your hands. So whenever I'm done, I just rub it on my hands. Putting it around the edges, anywhere where I think that I want it to look a little more worn and for that Van Dyke Brown to show up. So for that very bottom base, I'm going to use Abyss by Paint Couture. This is a mineral acrylic. So it has a top coat built in. Just going to do 2 quick layers on that bottom part. I was thinking that it was going to have some contrast with the denim, but it actually matched really well, which I was okay with that. I was okay either way. Just gave that a tiny little sand just to kind of rough it up. And then I'm going to go in with my Debbie's DIY Dark Wax and just distress that some. Every once in a while, I'm mixing my paint, checking on it, and it wasn't quite set up yet, so I think I actually used a little too much water. I went ahead and worked on the greenery. I'm going to do a base coat of Basil chalk style paint from Paint Couture. 2 layers. I'm using my makeup sponge. I've gotten where I really like using the makeup sponges, and when the end gets crusty, you just clip it off and keep going. It helps not get so much paint gooped up into the little crevices of the details of the design. I'm going to use a tiny fan brush to kind of swoop from the tip of the leaves in on the greenery just to add some more dimension. And in that upper left corner, I got it a little heavy, so I'm just going to wipe that back with a baby wipe. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing on the small branches. That is Autumn Sage. It's also a chalk style paint. And I was tired of waiting, so here we go with that denim. I am just doing a quick brush over. I don't like to work it too much with the brush. I don't want to interrupt that Extra Bond crackle. And so I'm just putting a layer on. I force heat. You want to force heat, you get better crackle. Let it cool, go back and hit it again with your heater. It does amazing things. So you can start to see the crackle, but it was a little uneven, so I did a 2nd coat. I was fully prepared to do a 3rd coat, but the crackle was just so amazing. I was like, okay, we're done. This is perfect. So just getting that really dry, and then, oh, so pretty. Gonna do a quick sand while that's cooling off because I don't want to put wax on it while it's still hot. I am just using my micro sander in a very high number grit on the greenery, and then using my Debbie's DIY wax to distress it and give it even more dimension. And now that those milk paint pieces of the planter have cooled down, I am going to sand around the edges and anywhere where I remember that I put that wax down, just to bring out that Van Dyke Brown stain underneath. and I love how it's turning out. I did go around the inside edge of the sign holder and sanded to make sure that I did not have any paint gooped up in there so that my sign would actually fit in there. And now I'm going to use Sweet Pickins dark oil wax, and I'm really working it down into the crackle and around the edges just to seal that in. And I let it sit for a little while before I wiped it back. I know it looks instantaneous, but it wasn't. It's at maybe 15-20 minutes. And then I let that sit, and I'm going to go in with Extreme Guard from Paint Couture. This is good if you're going to put any pieces outside. Now this is going to be under my covered porch, so it's not going to be in the elements, but I still want it to be protected. This has UV protection. It's a little thicker than the Dead Flat. So it's just a good top coat for any time you think it might be weathered a little bit. Cleaning out some goop there, and then I'll let that dry, and I'm going in with my Dead Flat. The Extreme Guard still has just a little bit of a sheen to it, even though it is matte, and I just love the Dead Flat matte finish. So I brush another coat of that over it. I've not had any issues doubling up my two different top coats. Works really well. Letting all of that get really good and dry before I go in for assembly. So just getting my art glitter glue on there and lining it up, making sure that I have those edges lined up, and I'm cleaning out the glue from where that little ditch is. That's where the insert goes, and you don't want glue getting in the way of your insert sliding in there smoothly. Clipped that together, especially when I use lots of heat, you know, it kind of warps it a little bit. So I'm clamping that together while it dries, and look how good that Abyss and the Denim look together. Love it, love it. Love how this frame came out and the distressing on it. Just gonna use my art glitter glue again. I love art glitter glue because it does not make my hands crusty. I'm a messy crafter, so I usually get everything everywhere. It also dries clear, and it gives you a little bit of wiggle room. Once it has dried, it's a really strong bond, but it does give you some wiggle room. So this is my board that I did the bucket on the backside. So I'm gonna make it reversible. I'm gonna add the planter to the bottom, measuring because that's how I am, and just sliding it. That's what I love about the other thing. One of the main things I love about art glitter glue is I can slide it, and it's not, you know, it gives you that wiggle room so that you can manipulate it for a little bit after you glue it down, unlike, you know, stick fast or something like that. So just wiping up any big messes that I make and making sure I'm pressing that down. I ended up getting I have some really, really large clamps from when I was making noodle boards. I ended up getting those and clamping the two sides of the planter to really make sure that it was getting on there, and just measuring where I wanted it. I knew the proportions from the bucket, so I knew how far down I wanted the greenery and the sign to go. And then for some reason, when I flipped it back over, I was so off. So I have some cleanup to do, but it wasn't a big deal. And then I just clamped that down. I still needed to wiggle it just a little bit more, and then let it set up, and there it is outside in the evening. Love the crackle, love the, you know, the color dimensions there. And then here it is this afternoon in the sunshine with all the different inserts. I love them all. I cannot choose a favorite. I don't know, maybe you can. Leave a comment with your favorite insert, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe.